I'm going to call out call-outs. There have been countless call-outs drawing attention to the attrition of working class artists in the theatre industry, but comparatively little actual action. And I think this is because dealing with class is seen as a kind of secondary luxury to making ostensibly sensible financial decisions. But I think the reality of that is that it is a missed opportunity. We're currently stuck in this deadly infinity loop of needing to appeal to wider and wider audiences, and yet less and less people are able to sustain being artists without generational wealth, when of course those people would be making the art that could bring in those new audiences. Early in your career, it can seem like you're on a level playing field with your peers, and then it gets towards mid-career and the gap widens and widens, and eventually working class artists are forced out. And I think this is terminal for our industry. We need to start loudly articulating the gains of having working class artists. We have to actively advocate for the arts in general, both to the public and to politicians, so that everyone understands their value. And we need budgets, commitments to socioeconomic diversity actually in policy, and we need more working class leaders. I think that is technically another call out.
I think the reality of being a working class artist at the moment is challenging. It's hard out here. It's a hustle. I think it's got harder in the last couple of years, personally. I think artists are being paid less, but the workload is still the same, if not more. So it means that it's very hard for artists that don't come from money or don't have a financial safety net or people that they can ask to help them out to sustain a career in the arts. I think there needs to be more clarity around when you're going to get paid, timelines. We need to know when the money is going to go in the bank so we can pay our rent.
Also in terms of working class leadership and things like this, I just think, and I always say, you need more of everything and everyone all the time. More of everything all the time. Nothing is in competition with itself or one another. We need to have equitable spaces because guess what? People exist. So why is it that there's only a particular type of individual that's favoured in positions of power, positions where decisions are made, where large budgets are handled? Why is it a particular individual that we tend to find in those positions? Because we live in a prejudicial society where the undercurrent and underlying thoughts about working class people, black people, marginalised groups of people is in the negative. Now for me, for these things to function within the arts is sacrilege, because the arts is the one, I think, one of our few third spaces left where the creative can exist, where the where questions, thoughts and ideas can be brought together, can be challenged, where audiences meet worlds that they wouldn't have necessarily easy access to, because of course we live in a more divided society. So, you know, I think it's useful to have, so therefore anyway, people that are making these decisions in theatre should be representative of the communities and the societies and the people within our environments.
I'm a mid-career theatre creative from a working class background, and the thing that I want to say that really frightens me is that a lot of the routes that I took to get into the industry are gone now, and I find that really frightening. I was able to start working in theatre by working full-time in offices and doing low and unpaid work around it. It wasn't great. I worked about 60 hours a week, but it was a route in because I couldn't afford to do unpaid internships, and there is a sea of young people that want to do it, and it was the only route that was available to me as a working class person. And even that felt hard. But now I don't even see how it's possible. I benefited from schemes like Ideas Tap, which are gone, from young people's ticket schemes like A Night Less Ordinary that let me see things for free, which is gone. I know lots of theatres do offer young people ticket schemes, but not on the scale that we used to have. And also, when you look at access to culture schemes that are available in Germany, for instance, where everyone's paying all university students paying like €1 for a term and seeing all the sport and theatre that the country has to offer, people can develop a taste without having to spend loads of money. We don't offer that. We still have the majority of the arts focused on London. I love London. I lived there for many years. I don't live there anymore. I had a great time there, but it was a bit of a nightmare, and it's more of a nightmare now because it has just got more and more unaffordable. We can't afford to talk about class in the arts like it's a completely separate issue of its own that's disconnected from the housing crisis and stagnant wages across the country. These things are deeply connected. The schemes that I got into the industry through, the places I wrote about theatre that let me see stuff for free, all of that is largely gone, and I find that really worrying because it was so hard when I did it, and I don't know, it now will just be a million times harder, and I worry that the next generation of working class artists are just not going to get through, and the generation below that won't even know that it's something they want to do because theatre's been cut so badly in schools. And I feel like this is a gigantic emergency, and while we're wasting time, theatre wastes time talking about cultural signifiers a lot in class, and who had bird's eye potato waffles for tea and who had whatever else, and I just find it a big waste of time because we need to talk about access to wealth and money and security, without which you can't afford to take the risks that will give you a creative career. And we are at risk of losing those voices from the industry because the pathways to get them in are not there.
When it comes to theatre, we know that the story is the most important thing. It is what brings our audiences in, and it is what makes theatre exciting. It's like unwrapping a present and then just seeing what's inside. But the thing that I would say is having a storyteller that has a deep, rich understanding of that play and a strong vision that is based on their background and cultural upbringing is equally, if not more, important. If we look at Pina Bausch's work, it is all driven by her background and her emotional connection to where she comes from. It transmits passion, energy, and magic. And that ultimately is what we want to transmit straight to our audiences.
And I firmly believe that we need to banish the attitude that working class artists need more help. We don't need more help. We just need the exact same treatment as the rest. So first thing for me, I would say open the rooms up, allow routes in for working class artists to be exposed to the exact same creative and cultural practices that you was afforded when you was growing up. Second of all, I'd say scrap the assumptions. We're multidisciplined, we're multifaceted, multi-talented. We do a lot with very, very little. And thirdly, I'd say prioritise the opinions of everyone. Diversity, inclusion and equity should not be seen as buzzwords to you. They're opportunities to meet new artists, hear new perspectives, platform new work and new stories.